Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you sounds crazy, but it's real. Right now, there are tiny coins hiding in everyday change, coins that look completely normal, but collectors are secretly chasing them behind closed doors. Not online, not in public, quietly, because they don't want everyone to know. The first one looks like any ordinary penny, but there's something slightly off about it. A small mistake, almost invisible. Most people miss it. But the moment a collector sees it, they stop everything, because they know it shouldn't exist. The second one is even more dangerous to ignore. It has a strange doubling, like the design shifted for a split second. If you don't pay attention, you'll spend it without thinking. And that's exactly how these coins disappear back into circulation. And Stop right there. Before you skip this video, you need to check your coins right now, because a 1964 D. Lincoln penny might look completely normal. But in some cases, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the crazy part is most people have no idea what to look for. They spend these coins every single day without realizing they could be holding something valuable. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Not just glanced at it, but really checked the details? Because the difference between a common coin and a valuable one is often hidden in tiny features that most people completely ignore. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, which is why you'll see a small D under the date. Millions of these coins were produced, which is why they are often considered common. But here's where things get interesting. Among those millions of coins, there are rare varieties, high-grade examples, and mint errors that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Take your coin out right now. Look under the date. Do you see the D-mint mark? Good. Now the real question is, what condition is your coin in? Because condition is everything. A heavily worn 1964 D-penny might only be worth a few cents, but a coin with sharp details, strong lines, and minimal wear can be worth much more. Look at Lincoln's face. Can you clearly see the hair details? Are the wheat ears on the back sharp and defined? If they are, you could have a higher grade coin. Now here's something most people don't know. Coins are graded on a scale, and the highest grades are called mint state. These coins show little to no wear and often still have their original shine, also known as luster. A 1964 D penny in mint state condition, especially with strong luster and minimal marks, can be worth hundreds of dollars to the right collector. But we're just getting started, because the real money is often found in errors. And this is where things get exciting. Error coins are coins that were struck with mistakes during the minting process. These mistakes can make a coin rare and highly desirable. One of the most important errors to look for is doubling. This happens when the coin's design is stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. If you look closely at the date or the letters and notice a shadow-like doubling effect, your coin could be worth significantly more. Another thing to check is the mint mark. Sometimes the D mint mark can appear doubled or repunched. This is known as a repunched mint mark, and collectors actively search for these varieties. Even a small doubling on the mint mark can increase the value of your coin. There are also other types of errors to watch for, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets. These errors can make each coin unique, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Now imagine this. Someone finds a 1964 D penny in their pocket change. It looks completely normal at first, but after a closer inspection, they notice a rare error. That coin suddenly goes from being worth a few cents to hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. This happens more often than you think. But here's something you must never do. Never clean your coins. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. Cleaning a coin might make it look shiny, but it actually destroys its value. Collectors prefer coins in their original condition, even if they look dark or toned. A clean coin can lose most of its value instantly. Another important factor is color. Copper coins like the 1964 D penny can appear in different shades, ranging from brown to red. Red coins, which still have their original mint color, are much more valuable than brown ones. If your coin has a bright red appearance, it could be worth significantly more. Luster is another key detail. When you tilt the coin under light, you should see a soft, glowing shine moving across the surface. This is a sign that the coin has been well preserved. Coins with strong luster are highly desirable among collectors. Now, let's talk about why the 1964 D-penny is so interesting. This coin was minted during a time of major change in U.S. coinage. Just 1 year later, in 1965, the composition of many coins changed due to rising metal prices. That makes pre-1965 coins, including the 1964 D-penny, part of an important transitional period in American history. And while the 1964 D-penny itself is made of copper, it belongs to a generation of coins that collectors love to study and collect. As time goes on, fewer high-quality examples remain, which means their value can increase. Now think about this for a moment. How many pennies have you seen in your life? Hundreds? Thousands? And how many of those did you actually examine closely? Probably not many. That's why valuable coins continue to be overlooked. People don't know what to look for. But now you do. You know to check the mint mark. You know to examine the condition. You know to look for errors. And most importantly, you know that even a common-looking coin can have hidden value. This is exactly why collectors spend so much time searching through coins. They know that valuable pieces are still out there. They haven't all been found. Some are sitting in jars, drawers, and collections waiting to be discovered. And here's the best part. You don't need expensive equipment to get started. All you need is a careful eye and a little knowledge. A simple magnifying glass can help you spot details that others might miss. As you continue learning, you'll start to see coins differently. You'll notice small features that make a big difference. You'll recognize errors, variations, and high-quality coins. And that's when things start to get exciting. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny may seem ordinary, but hidden among millions of coins are rare and valuable examples. The key is knowing what to look for. And now you have that knowledge. So, the next time you find a penny, don't just ignore it. Take a closer look, because that small coin in your hand could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And remember this, valuable coins don't announce themselves. They look just like ordinary coins. The only difference is the person who knows what to look for. So check your coins. Study them carefully. And who knows, you might just discover something incredible. Stop right there. Before you skip this video, you need to check your pocket change right now. Because a 1979 Lincoln penny, D. Lincoln penny might look completely ordinary, but some of these coins are worth far more than 1 cent. It can be worth hundreds or the crazy part thousands of dollars. Most people never check the crazy part. They spend them. Most people have no idea or leave them sitting in jars. They spend these coins not realizing every they could be holding a valuable coin without realizing they could be holding something valuable. When was the last time you actually looked closely? When was the last time you actually not just glanced at it, but really checked not just glanced at it, but really checked the difference between a common coin because the difference between a common coin and a valuable one tiny details, often hidden in that tiny features that most people completely ignore. The 1979 Lincoln penny, the 1964 of the long-running penny was minted in Denver, one of the most collected coin series small in the world. D under the date. By 1979, millions of these coins were pennies were made mostly which is why they are often small amount common. Other metals, but here's where things get interesting. Among those millions of people assume these coins there are rare varieties, high-grade examples, but here's the truth, and mint errors that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. First, you need to check your coin out right now. This is one of the most important details. Do you see the D-mint mark? Look under the date. Now, the real question is, your coin was made in Philadelphia. Because condition is small D, everything. It was minted heavily in Denver, 1964. And if you see an S, D-penny might came from San Francisco. Only be worth a few cents. That tiny letter with sharp details, strong lines, value, and minimal, especially for collectors, much more. Now, take your coin out and look at it closely. Can you clearly see the hair details? Is it in? Are the wheat worn down and on the back sharp, or does it still have sharp details? If they are, you could have a higher grade coin. Can you see the lines in Lincoln's hair? Now here's something the letters clear and strong. Coins are graded on a scale. Matter more than you might think. The highest grades heavily worn 1979 penny. These coins show little to no wear only worth face still have their original shine. But a coin in excellent condition, also known as luster, especially one that looks almost new, can be worth much more. Mint state condition, and if you have especially with strong luster and minimal marks, meaning it was never used in hundreds of dollars to the right collector. You could be looking at a much higher value. We're just getting started. Because now here's where money is really interesting in errors. Color plays a huge role, and this is where things get exciting. Copper coins like the 1979 penny can appear in during the minting process, from dark brown
These mistakes
to bright
can
red.
make a coin
A red
rare
penny,
and highly desirable.
which still has its original
One of the most
mint color,
important errors
is
to
much
look for
rarer
is
and more
doubling.
valuable than a brown
This happens
one.
when the coin's
Collectors
design
are
is
always
stamped more than
searching
once,
for these bright
slightly
red coins.
misaligned.
But if you look
We're just getting
closely
started
at
because
the
the
date
real
or the
money
letters
is
and
often
notice a
found in
shadow-like
errors.
doubling effect,
These are coins
your
that
coin
were
could be
struck
worth
with
significantly
mistakes
more
during the minting
Another
process.
thing to check,
And believe
is
it or
the mint
not,
mark.
these mistakes
Sometimes the
are
D mint
exactly
mark
what
can
collectors
appear
are looking
doubled
for.
or repunched.
One of the most important
This is known
errors
as a
to look for
repunched
is
mint mark.
doubling.
And
This
collectors
happens when the design
actively
is
search
stamped
for
more
these
than once,
varieties.
slightly
Even
misaligned.
a small doubling
If you
on
look
the mint
closely
mark
at the
can
date
increase
or the
the value
letters
of your coin.
and notice that
There are also
shadow-like
other types of
effect.
errors
You
to
might
watch
have a
for,
double die
such
coin.
as off-center
These
strikes,
coins can be
die
worth
cracks,
significantly
and
more
clip
than regular
branches.
ones.
These
Another
errors
thing to
can
check
make each coin
is
unique.
off-center strikes.
And the rarer the
This
error,
is when
the
the
more
more
valuable the
valuable
coin
is not
becomes.
perfectly
Now
aligned,
imagine this.
leaving part of the
Someone
coin
finds a
blank. The more
1964
off-center the strike
D penny
is,
in their
the
pocket
more
change.
valuable the coin
It
can
looks
be,
completely normal
especially
at
if
first,
the date is
but
still visible.
after a closer inspection,
there are also
they
die
notice
cracks
a
where you might
rare
see
error.
raised lines
That
on the
coin
coin
suddenly
and clip
goes from
branches,
being
where a
worth
portion
a
of
few
the coin
cents to hundreds
is missing due to
or
a minting error.
even thousands of
These
dollars.
types of errors
This
make
happens
each
more
coin
often than you
unique.
think.
And
But here's
collectors
something
are
you must
willing
never
to pay
do.
a premium for that.
Never clean your
Now
coins.
imagine this.
This is one
Someone
of the biggest
finds a
mistakes new
1979
collectors
penny
make.
in
Cleaning
their
a
pocket
coin
change.
might make
It
it
looks
look shiny,
completely normal at
but
first.
it
But
actually
after
destroys
closer
its
inspection,
value.
they notice
Collectors
a
prefer
rare
coins
error. In their
that
original
coin
condition,
suddenly goes
even
from
if they
being
look
worth
dark
1
or
cent
toned.
to potentially
A clean
hundreds of
coin
dollars
can lose
this
most of
happens
its value
more often
instantly.
than you think.
Another
But here's
important
something you
factor
must never
is
do.
color.
Never clean your
Copper coins like the
This
1964
is one of the biggest mistakes
D penny can
new
appear in
collectors
different
make.
shades,
Cleaning might
ranging
make a coin
from brown
look
to
shiny,
red.
but
Red coins,
it actually
which still have
destroys
their
its
original
value.
mint color,
Collectors
are
prefer
much
coins
more
with
valuable
original
than
surfaces,
brown ones.
even if they
If
look
your coin
dark
has a bright
or
red
aged.
appearance,
A
it could
clean
be worth
coin can
significantly
lose most
more.
of its value
Luster
instantly.
is another key
Another
detail.
important factor
When you tilt the
is
coin under
luster.
light, you should
This
see
is
a
the
soft,
natural shine
glowing
that a
shine
coin
has
has
when it
across
is
the
freshly
surface.
minted.
This
If
is
you
a
tilt your
sign
coin
that the
under
coin
light
has been
and
well
see a
preserved.
soft, glowing effect,
Coins with
that's a good
strong
sign.
luster are
Coins
highly
with
desirable
strong
among
luster are
collectors.
more desirable.
Now, let's
and
talk
can be
about
worth
why the
more.
1964
Now, let's talk about
D-penny
proof
is so
coins,
interesting.
because
This
this coin
something
was
many
minted
people
during a time of major
overlook.
change
In
in
1979,
just 1
proof
year later,
pennies were made in San
1965,
and
the
these
composition
coins
of
have a
many
mirror-like
coins
finish
changed due
with
to
very
rising
sharp
metal
details.
prices.
If
If
you
you
find
find
a
a
1975
1975
coins,
S penny that
including the
looks
1964
unusually shiny and
D penny,
detailed, it could be a proof
part
coin
of an important
and those are often
transitional
more
period
valuable
in
than
American
regular
history.
circulation coins.
And while the 1964
And here's something interesting.
D-penny itself
Proof coins
is made
were
of
not
copper,
meant for
it
circulation.
belongs to a generation
So
of
finding
coins
one in
that
everyday
collectors
change is rare,
love
but
to
it does
study
happen,
and collect.
and when it
As
does,
time goes
it
on,
can be a valuable
fewer
find.
high-quality examples
Now
remain,
think about this for a
which
moment.
means their value
How
can
many
increase.
pennies have passed
Now
through
think
your
about this
hands
for a
without
moment.
you paying attention?
How many pennies have
Hundreds?
you seen in your life?
Thousands?
Hundreds?
And how many of those could have been
And
valuable?
how many of those
That's
did
why
you
knowledge
actually
is so
examine
important.
closely?
It allows
Probably
you to see
not
value
many.
where others
That's
see
why
nothing.
valuable coins
The 1979
continue to be
Lincoln
overlooked.
penny may seem
People
common,
don't know what to look for,
but hidden
but
among
now you
millions
do.
of coins
You know to
are
check the
rare
mint mark.
varieties,
You know
high-grade
to
examples,
examine the
and
condition.
error coins
You
that
know to look
collectors
for
are searching
errors.
for.
And
The key
most importantly,
is knowing
you
what to
know
look
that
for.
even
Check
a
the
common-looking
mint mark.
coin can have
Examine
hidden
the
value.
condition.
This
Look
is
for
exactly
errors.
why
Pay
collectors
attention
spend
to
so much
color
time
and
searching
luster.
for coins.
These small
They know
details
that
can make a
valuable
huge difference
pieces
in value.
are still out there.
And remember,
they haven't all been
valuable
found.
coins don't
Some
stand
are
out
sitting
at
in
first
jars,
glance.
drawers,
They look
and
just
collections,
like ordinary
waiting to be
coins.
discovered.
The only
And here's the
difference
best part.
is the person
You don't
who
need
knows what to
expensive
look for.
equipment to get
So,
started.
the next
All you
time
need
you
is
see
a
a penny,
careful
don't
eye
ignore it.
and a little
Take
knowledge.
a closer look. A simple
Because that
magnifying
small
glass
coin in your hand
can help you
could be
spot
worth
details
far more than
that
you
others
ever
might
imagined.
miss. As you continue learning, you'll start to see coins differently. You'll notice small features that make a big difference. You'll recognize errors, variations, and high-quality coins. And that's when things start to get exciting. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny may seem ordinary, but hidden among millions of coins are rare and valuable examples. The key is knowing what to look for. And now you have that knowledge. So, the next time you find a penny, don't just ignore it. Take a closer look, because that small coin in your hand could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And remember this, valuable coins don't announce themselves. They look just like ordinary coins. The only difference is the person who knows what to look for. So check your coins. Study them carefully. And who knows, you might just discover something incredible. Stop what you're doing, because that old penny sitting in your pocket right now could be hiding serious money. Yes, a simple 1981 Lincoln penny, a coin most people ignore. could actually be worth far more than 1 cent. And the shocking part is most people spend these coins without even checking them. But today, you're going to learn exactly what makes a 1981 penny valuable, what rare errors to look for, and how a tiny detail could turn your 1 cent coin into something collectors are willing to pay hundreds, even thousands of dollars for. So, before you skip this video, make sure you watch until the end, because one small mistake could cost you a fortune. The 1981 Lincoln penny was produced during a time when the United States Mint was quietly preparing for one of the biggest changes in coin history. Most people don't know this, but just 1 year later, the composition of the penny changed forever. And that's what makes the 1981 penny so important. It sits right at the edge of a major transition, and coins from this time often carry rare features that collectors hunt for. Millions of these coins were made, but only a very small number have the details that make them valuable. And that's where things get interesting, because not all 1981 pennies are the same. Some were made in Philadelphia, some in Denver, and some in San Francisco. And each version has its own potential value. But here's the catch. The difference between a normal penny and a valuable one can be so small, most people never notice it. Let's start with the basics. If your penny has no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. If it has a small D, it was made in Denver. And if you see an S, that means it was made in San Francisco, often as a proof coin. Now here's where things get serious. Some 1981 pennies were struck with errors, and these errors are what can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. One of the most valuable things you can find is a double die error. This happens when the design is stamped twice slightly out of alignment. And if you look closely at the letters or the date, you might see doubling, not damage, not wear, but actual doubling from the minting process. This is extremely rare, and collectors are willing to pay big money for it. So grab a magnifying glass and check every detail, because what looks like a normal coin might actually be a hidden gem. Another valuable feature to look for is off-center strikes. This is when the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, and part of the design is missing. These coins look unusual, and that's exactly why collectors want them. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable it can be. But that's not all. There are also coins with clipped planchets where a part of the coin is literally missing. And again, this is not damage. It's a mint error. And mint errors mean money. Now here's something most people completely overlook. Condition. Even a common 1981 penny can become valuable if it's in perfect condition. Coins that were never used, never circulated, and have sharp, clean details can sell for much higher prices. Collectors call this mint state, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. So, if you find a shiny 1981 penny that looks almost brand new, don't spend it, because it could be worth much more than you think. Now, let's talk about something that could completely change the value of your coin. Color. Yes, color matters. Lincoln pennies are usually brown after years of circulation. But if your coin still has its original red color, it could be far more valuable. Red coins are rare, especially in older dates like 1981. And collectors pay a premium for that original shine. So, always check the color of your coin, because that small detail could mean the difference between 1 cent and a serious payout. Now here's a question most people never ask. Could a 1981 penny be made from the wrong metal? The answer is, it's possible. Transitional errors sometimes happen when mints are changing materials, and if a coin is struck on the wrong planchet, its value can skyrocket. These coins are extremely rare, but they do exist, and when they show up, collectors go crazy. So, if your 1981 penny feels different, looks different, or weighs differently, you might have something special. And here's the scary part. People throw these coins away every single day. They sit in jars, drawers, piggy banks, completely unnoticed, until someone who knows what to look for finds them. That's why this video matters, because once you know what to check, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Now imagine this. You're sorting through your spare change, you pick up a 1981 penny, you look a little closer, and suddenly you notice something unusual. Maybe the letters look doubled, maybe the strike is off-center, maybe the color is bright red, and in that moment everything changes, because you realize this isn't just a penny. This could be a valuable collectible. This could be a hidden treasure. And that's exactly what coin collecting is all about. Finding value where others see nothing. So, before you spend your next penny, take a second look, because that tiny coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And if you made it this far, here's your final warning. Never ignore small details, because in the world of coins, the smallest detail can mean the biggest money. Check your pockets, check your jars, check your old coins, because your next big discovery might already be in your hands. And if you want to learn about more rare coins that could be hiding in your everyday change, make sure you subscribe, because the next coin we talk about could be even more valuable.